I don't really know you, but Zan gave me this intro. So is this okay just to read out?
Perfect. Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
No problem. I'm excited.
Whenever you let me know you've kind of wrapped up, I'll jump back on to video and ask if there's any Q&A at the end.
Sure. Yeah. You'll see I have a question slide that will come up sort of at the end.
Perfect.
And then when I get to that slide, Megan, I'll just kind of unshare my screen so we can go back to this screen and go from there.
I guess you're a professional. You know how this all goes. Well, thank you again for being here. I think we're trying to work out, there were some ID issues with getting in. So I think we're trying to work that out.
All right, good.
So where are you located?
I am in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, my sister lives in Dayton, Ohio.
Okay. She's about between 45 minutes to an hour away, depending on what part of town she's in. Is she in Dayton proper or is she in?
No, Xenia?
Xenia?
Yes.
Xenia? Yeah. Nice area.
Yeah. Yeah. Good old Midwest.
Yep. You guys having some warm temperatures down there?
It's so disgusting.
Hot and humid, huh?
You can't walk from the car to the building without feeling gross.
Yeah. It's been hot and humid here, but nothing like down there in the sand hills.
Oh, it's bad. It's the humidity. I mean, if it was so high, but the humidity is just takes your breath away. I think we're getting people on, so that's great. I think they're muted as they come in. So
okay.
But good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. We'll wait a few minutes because I think there was just a delay in the password.
Is Zane going to jump on with us, or is he staying behind closed doors?
I think he's staying behind the scenes, trying to fix everything and make everything wonderful.
All right, good.
As Zan always does. So
he does a great job. That's why I wore my tie. Respect to the North Carolina State Wolfpack tennis star.
I see the Gators back there too.
That's it. Yep, that's my. That's where I went to school.
There's people logging on now, so that's great. So we'll just give it a few minutes.
I see someone named Mr. Awesome went to Kent State. Hi, Mr. Awesome. I'll actually be up. We were up there on Saturday. I got to go up again on Friday. My son's playing in a golf tournament at Windmill Lakes, which is the home of the Kent State Golden Flashes golf team. So small world here, Megan.
Yes, it's always know somebody, you know somebody, you know somebody.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do your intro and let you take over. And as people log in, we'll just kind of remind them throughout to, keep their stuff muted and send you any questions at the end. So who we have here today is Mr. Sean Carpenter. He's originally licensed as a realtor in 1998. Sean Carpenter is the former agent development director for the Ohio NRT companies. He jumped back into a sales role with Coldwell Banker, serving buyers and sellers throughout Central Ohio. He founded Sean Speaks in 2018 to expand his speaking, consulting, and facilitation opportunities. We're glad for that. Formerly recognized by Inman News as one of the top 100 most influential leaders in real estate. That's pretty awesome. Sean was named as one of the top 20 most influential people in social media for the real estate industry by the Swain Poll Report for the third year in a row. Sean recently received the Joseph McKinnon, did I say that right?
You did?
Miss McKinnon Award from the Columbus Realtors as her 2017 Instructor of the Year. Sean's mission is to teach with passion and enthusiasm, instilling confidence and excitement in his students, and he lives by this philosophy: build relationships, solve problems, and have fun. And we look so forward to hearing you talk today.
Thank you very much, Megan. I appreciate it. Let me jump on here and share my screen. We'll get this all ready to go and have some fun today. So if you can confirm, Megan, that you are seeing my screen there with the little teddy bear.
I do see that.
Awesome. And then Megan, why don't you kind of hang close? I might bring you in for some conversation here throughout, just to add some engagement. But thank you guys all for jumping on today, and thank the Longleaf Pines Realtor Association for hosting me. Gosh, I've been doing this presentation since the whole COVID-19 pandemic started. Seems like yesterday, and it also seems like it was years ago, doesn't it? That we were kind of living our lives as we wanted before this change. But Megan, thank you for the introduction. I've been down there a couple times to your sales rally. So look forward to getting back in front of a live studio audience sometime soon. But for now, we'll take what we can get. As Megan said, 22 years in the real estate business. My philosophy is really simple. It was in the very end of the presentation, but when I was a brand new agent, I found that if I just did these three things every day, build relationships, solve problems, and have fun, that everything else takes care of itself. And so for the new agents maybe jumping on this webinar, I know it seems overwhelming to figure out how you take your customers and turn them into clients, how you take your clients and get them into contract, and how you get your contracts to the closing table. But if you just focus on those three things, building relationships, solving problems, and having fun, I promise you the contracts and the closings will take care of themselves. Really every day, Megan, when I lay my head on the pillow, I try and say to myself, did I build relationships today? Did I solve problems today? And did I have fun today? If I can answer yes to those three things, usually everything else will take care of itself. Encourage anyone on the webinar to jump on and connect with me on the social channels. I'm on Twitter and Instagram, first and foremost, at Sean Carp. So go ahead and feel free to be posting or tagging anything you see in the presentation today, or maybe sharing out any successes with some of the things we'll talk about today. But I want to start with the win philosophy. Here's a guy that coached NC State at one point in time in his career, Lou Holtz. Got a chance to meet Coach Holtz at the National Association of Realtors Conference I believe that one was in Las Vegas. And what a great, started his career at Arkansas, worked his way around, won a championship at Notre Dame. But Lou Holtz talks about the win philosophy. It's one of his main coaching tenets, and it stands for what's important now. And even though it seems like we are hopefully going to be out of this coronavirus pandemic soon, every single day, guys, we got to figure out what's important now. And what's important now is obviously our health and the health of our families, the health of our loved ones, the health of our customers, our clients, and our communities, and really getting back to business as usual, if that's such a thing. And so just come and keep reminding yourself of what's important now. There's a lot of little things that will get in our way in our business of real estate. But if you can sort of just reset every time you get frustrated and focus on what's important now. And on this webinar today are going to be some things you've heard before. Nothing on this will be new to most of you, but that's what real estate is the basics. I always laugh at people that say, I'm going to get back to the basics this year. Well, if the basics work so well, why do we quit doing them? Why would we ever get back to the basics? So the things you're going to hear on this webinar today are things that you've probably heard before. But guess what? The world we're living in right now, haven't we heard this before? Haven't we heard people say, make sure you cover your mouth when you sneeze or cough? Haven't we heard people say, make sure you wash your hands a lot? That should have happened before the pandemic, but now during the pandemic, we're hearing, make sure you wash your hands. Well, we've heard that before. We've heard, make sure you stay socially distant. And I want to challenge you, don't say the word socially distant, because I don't want us to lose any gap being socially disconnected. Let's be spatially distanced. Let's make sure we are leaving some space between us and our customers and our clients so that we're not passing or accepting any germs. But here's the great news. For most of us on this call, there's nothing broken about old school. Old school still works. Mr. Monroe, I get on so many of his webinars, and I listen to his little pithy country sayings, but he's so on point with his basics. The basics work, and there's nothing broken with old school. And the great news is old school still works. Sure, there's a lot of new school technologies and social connections and video and a lot of digital, but good old fashioned nose to nose, toes to toes, face mask to face mask really works well. So let's stay focused on that. And let's start with, as Zig Ziglar used to say, that check up from the neck up, right? That mental approach to our business every single day as we kick off this week, on a Tuesday morning here. We've got to kind of get our mind right. And that check up from the neck up, I think, is so important because we have to listen to that voice in our head all day long, don't we? Every single one of us needs to listen to that voice in our head. And is that voice positive or is it negative? And I got to tell you guys, we got to make sure that voice is positive. We got to every day choose the attitude we're going to bring to the table. It literally is a choice. I want to challenge you guys on this call. When you wake up tomorrow morning, start asking yourself this question as you lay there in bed. Is today going to be a great day or a great day? And if you don't choose a great day, then hit your snooze button and give yourself 9 more minutes to reconsider your answer. Is today going to be a great day or a great day? Because if you choose that it's going to be a great day, the second you put your feet on the floor, then everything around you starts to change. And making sure that you bring that positive energy to yourself, to your family, to your office, to your customers and clients, and obviously, as you go further to your community, it will make people want to be around you. I think using affirmations is a big deal. I think when you talk to people who use affirmations, positive self-statements that you say to yourself, sometimes either subconsciously or sometimes you might say them out loud. It just kind of gets your mind where it needs to be. I've yet to talk to someone, when I ask my audiences how many people use affirmations, the people that raise their hands, they all believe they work. And that's the whole point of using affirmations. I'm going to show a video here and hopefully this will work. But this is, imagine if everyone could start their day like this, father and daughter.
Say, I am strong.
I am strong.
Say, I am smart.
I am smart.
Say, I work hard.
I work hard.
I am beautiful.
I am beautiful.
I am respectful.
I am respectful.
Yeah. Say, I'm not better than anyone.
I'm not better than anyone.
Nobody's better than me.
No one's better than me.
I am amazing.
I am amazing.
I am great.
I am great.
What's your name?
Aaliyah Austin.
If you fall,
I get back up.
what are you?
I'm blessed.
Yes. Say thank you, God,
Thank you, God,
for making me
for making me
the greatest.
the greatest.
There's nobody
There's nobody
better
better
than me.
than me.
All right, give me 5. Give me a kiss. Let's go.
So Megan, unmute yourself for a second, Megan. I want to bring you back on it and ask you a question. What do you think would happen if everyone in our world started their day like that?
They'd probably be in a really good mood and really friendly and really helpful and be really confident throughout their day.
Yeah, I just think if we can choose that attitude, guys, to bring that attitude to our business, it will help our business. And I love this slide here. It talks about we've got to change from treating this as a real estate business and treat it as a real business. Because I'm not sure what broker y'all work for, but you don't work for the broker, you work with the broker. My guess is in North Carolina, you guys are what's called independent contractors. So you're not employees of the broker, you are independent contractors. You work for your own company, Sean Carpenter, Inc., right? And Megan and Company, right? Whatever your company name is, you are the president of your company. You're the marketing director of your company. You're the social chairman of your company. You're the lead follow-up director for your company. You need to make the business decisions to help you become a successful business. And there's really 2 things an agent does with his or her day, whether you're going through the COVID pandemic or whether you're in perfect conditions. There's 2 things an agent does. If I followed every one of you guys around with a legal pad and just drew a line down the middle, there's only 2 things an agent does. You either do business development activities or you do business support activities. That's it. Everything that a realtor does falls on one of those 2 sides, business development activities or business support activities. Now, let me rhetorically ask you guys, what do you think most agents spend most of their time doing? That's right, business support activities. And when I ask you why, you'll say, well, it's easier and things have to get done. And don't get me wrong, business support activities are critical in the business. We have to get our deals into contract. And we have to take the contracts and get them to the closing table. So there's checklists and there's forms and things you have to upload. And there's business support activities that we must do to get to the closing table. But let me tell you the number 1 reason why agents spend most of their time doing business support activities and not business development activities. Because with business support activities, there's no rejection. There's no rejection involved in business support activities. Being on MLS all day long is not going to say, no, thanks, I'm not interested. And making a flyer for an open house is not going to say, I don't want you to be my realtor. But there will be some rejection in business development activities. But here's what I found in my 22 years in the business, and I'm sure Zan will probably agree with me. If you spend all your time doing business support activities and not business development activities, there soon will be no business to support. And so every day you've got to treat it like a discipline. You've got to do the business development activities. You've got to put the seeds in the ground like a farmer would in hopes that there will be a crop tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, right? And the PGA Tour golfers are going to show up in Memphis this week for the World Golf Championship before they head out to San Francisco the following week for the PGA Championship, the first major of the year with the reschedule. But the best players in the world will show up and they'll practice. And the best players in the world of baseball right now are showing up night in, night out, and they're practicing. They're practicing throwing and catching and hitting and running and bunting and sliding and all the basics. And so we as realtors need to make sure that every single day we're doing something that might put a seed in the ground. So with that being sort of said, let's take a look at what I call the 4 levels of a successful real estate business. For those of you guys taking notes, let's go from macro to micro. And let's take some of this time now that we've been given, this little timeout that we've had called with our market. And listen, I know from what it sounds like, your guys' market is on fire down there right now, literally the heat down there, but the market's hot right now, right? Inventory isn't so much low as it is fast. Inventory is low right now because houses are selling quickly. So let's change that paradigm and not complain about a low inventory. Let's talk about a fast inventory and how that could be good for sellers and challenging for buyers if they're not prepared. But while we have a little bit of time off and a little bit of time to think, maybe in our home offices and wherever we might be working, let's look at the 4 levels of a successful real estate business. And let's start with level 1. So the very top macro level is called your database. Your database, and look at the definition. Anyone I have contact information for. So for those of you taking notes, just write down database, anyone I have contact information for. And when you think about someone's database, it usually has names, addresses, emails, and phone numbers. But if you look at most people's databases, sure, the names are going to be there, but some people have names with addresses and a phone number, but no email. Or they have names and a phone number, but no address. Or they have names and an email and a phone number, but no address. And they have bits and pieces of this. But whatever your database is, whether it's in a contact relationship system online, whether it's in your phone, whether it's on a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, whether it's in a Franklin Covey planner, or whatever it may be, your database is just a collection of anyone you have contact information for. So let's just leave that as level 1. Let's go to level 2 though. Level 2 there you see is your sphere of influence. I know them, they know me. Now this is really important. Everyone in your sphere of influence is part of your database, but not everybody in your database is part of your sphere of influence. Okay. Everyone in your sphere of influence is part of your database, but not everyone in your database is part of your sphere of influence. Because think about this, your database was anyone you have contact information for. So let me use Megan as an example. Maybe Megan has contact information for all of her homeowners association, right? Because they send out a phone book of all the people that live in her neighborhood. And maybe Megan has a roster for her church or her gym, or maybe where her kids play baseball, and all the teams that have kids on the baseball league, she has the roster of all those people. But if she's at the grocery store tonight, picking up milk on her way home from work, and someone in front of her lives in her homeowners association, but lives 6 blocks over, and the person behind her is the mother of the catcher on the team her son's baseball team is going to play next weekend, they're total strangers to her. They're not sphere of influence. She doesn't know them, but she has their contact information. So if you look at your database, there's a big number. Your sphere of influence, though, how many people are in your sphere of influence? It's got to be a smaller number than in your database. Now, you're going to grow your sphere of influence through what's called the ripple effect. And everybody needs to understand the ripple effect basically says this: if I know 100 people and they know 100 people, then I'm only 1 contact away from 10,000 people. If those 100 people know 100 people, I'm only 2 contacts away then from 100,000 people. But the key is to get to know the people who can start the ripple. If I generically asked you guys, would you rather know a lot about 5 people or nothing about 500? Let me ask that again. Would you rather know a lot about 5 people or nothing about 500? See, the answer is a lot about 5 people. Yet so many agents, when they're new, they say, I already know those 5 people, Sean, and they know me. I need to meet more people. So they walk right past the 5 they know to meet the 500 strangers behind them. And what we should do is get to know the 5 people at the front of the line really, really well and really, really deep, so that every once in a while they'll turn around and say to their people, hey, everyone back there, if you need real estate help, come to the front of the line because my friend Megan will take good care of you. See, that's how the ripple effect works, is to know a lot about less people and let them tell your story for you. See, here's what I'm going to challenge us all to do is let's rethink our database when it comes to our sphere of influence, that second level. And let's picture that we're going to use an Excel spreadsheet, whether it's a big Excel spreadsheet up on the wall or in this example. And in column number 1, we're going to put our client's name. Okay, very basic. In column number 2, we're going to put our client's address. Column number 3, we're going to put our client's phone number. Now, we might need a couple columns because we might need a phone number, cell, a work number, and a home number. Now, I understand many people these days only have one number. Their cell number is their home number and is their work number. But there are people that still have a home number and a cell number and a work number. So let's make sure we add those in the columns. Then we're going to have a column for their email address. Now, we might need 2 columns, work email and personal email. Right? We've got their @business.com and we've got their @gmail.com or whatever other address they might have. Then we're going to have a column for their spouse or partner's name. Now we're going to have to add our spouse or partner's cell number, work email, and personal email. Now you're going to have a column for kid's name, kid's name, kid's name. Now at this point in time, we're having to scroll over on our page, but we're adding in all this information for that name in the top left corner of our client. Then we're going to want to add in pets' names because pets are part of people's families, aren't they? Yeah, see, I can't even see you guys, but I see some of you guys nodding your heads. Sure, pets are part of people's families. So let's add the pets' names into one of the columns. Let's put in birthdays, spouse or partner's birthday, anniversary, kid's birthday, kid's birthday, kid's birthday. Let's make sure we have all that information. We're having to scroll over on the page now. Let's put in where they went to college. Let's put in where they work. Let's put in where the website of where they work is. Let's add in all their social channels, their Facebook page, their Twitter handle, their Instagram and TikTok and Pinterest and all these different things. Now some of you are saying like, whoa, Sean, that's way too much information. Well, first of all, Megan, let me have you jump back on here for a second. I want to talk to you because you're an agent there in town, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's just assume you have about 200 names in your list, Megan. How many of those 200 names do you think you'd have all this information for? Be honest. How many of those 200 names do you think you'd have all this information for?
Everything you just posted.
Yeah.
None.
But how about 10? Let's just say 10, right? I mean,
okay.
Think about this. Your best friend from high school, maybe the maid of honor in your wedding, right? All those people. And now here's the great news, Megan, and I mean this in all seriousness. For the people that are overwhelmed by this, if you have 10, think of all the blank spots on this Excel spreadsheet you'd have. Now, in the left-hand column, you have Jack Smith's name, and you know his wife's Nancy. You know he has 3 kids, but you're not sure what their names are. So those are all blanks. And you know he went to school at NC State, but you're not sure where Nancy went to school. But here's the great news, Megan. You have your entire career to fill those blanks in. You don't have to have them all done tomorrow. If every single day, if every single Tuesday, let's say, you said, my goal is to fill out 5 blanks every Tuesday. Over time, you start filling that out. Megan, where could you find out where your clients went to college? Where's just 1 or 2 places you might be able to find that out?
Social media.
Facebook, LinkedIn, right? And maybe you're watching your news feed on a Thursday night and you see your friend Nancy talks about their son Billy just got accepted to, North Carolina. Well, then you scroll over and you add in Billy's name in there, right? And now or they say we just got a new puppy, Baxter, and you add that in. And I'm just saying over time, but let me ask you a question, Megan. If you take those 200 names and the 10 that you have all this information for, do you know more about those 10 people than you do about the other 190?
I would say yes.
Yeah. Do you have more reasons to talk to those people?
Yes.
Do you have more reasons to talk to those people that aren't real estate related?
Yes.
Yeah. See, so you can see how having all this information could make you a very good relationship opportunity builder, right?
And closer friends. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not always having to talk about real estate. And that's one of the biggest fears of most of us in real estate. Thanks, Megan, for jumping on. I'll have you come back in a little bit, but think about, guys, if you put yourself out to get all that information and over time you start adding it. Now, here's the good news. Once you start building this, every new client you meet, you start asking a few extra questions. Like, oh, what's your pet's name? Or when's your birthday? When's your anniversary? So now you have all these reasons to follow up with these people. Now, the question always comes up, how many people should be in your sphere of influence? Well, there's about 330 million people in the United States. There's just a little over 1.4 million members of the National Association of Realtors, which means that there's 1 realtor for every 235 people. So that's always my number that I challenge agents is you should have at least 235 people in your sphere of influence, meaning I know them and they know me, because what are the odds, even there in Fayetteville, North Carolina, that people that know you don't know another realtor in town? hopefully you're shaking your head saying, well, of course they know other realtors in town. They know of other realtors in town, but they know other realtors. So 235 just gives you the odds that they don't know another realtor. But we know they do, so we need to keep making sure we're staying in touch with them so that when they think real estate tomorrow morning, next week, next month, next year, even though they know 6 or 7 realtors, you're the one they call. That's called your sphere of influence. Now, level 3 is your clients. Your clients, they've done business with me in the past. Now, by definition, your clients are part of your sphere of influence, right? Because I know them and they know me. But notice I don't call them your past clients. See, we call them that in our vernacular. We say they're one of my past clients. But let's call them our clients, even if they used us in the past. Because if Megan has a client who sold their house in Fayetteville and moved to Tampa, Megan may say, well, they're my past clients. They're not coming back. They retired to Tampa. Okay, but let's look at this. They lived for 61 years of their life in Fayetteville. They went to high school there. They had kids there. They had a job there for 42 years, right? So they might come back. They might come back to visit. They might get divorced. They might, who knows the reasons, but they're still her clients. If I called Megan's dentist right now and said, hey, Dr. Smith, who's Megan? The dentist would say, she's one of my patients. The dentist wouldn't say she's one of my past patients. They'd say she's one of my patients. So let's think about that. Now, here's the question. Your database is however many people you have contact information for. Your sphere of influence is at least 235 people just to play the odds. How many clients do you have? How many of you guys listening right now feel very comfortable telling me exactly how many clients you have in your career? Now, some of the new people, you're laughing and saying, I've had 4 clients, right? You know exactly how many closings you've had. But some of the people that are on this webinar that have been in the business 15, 20, 30 years, they're like, oh, hundreds of clients, Sean. Well, here's my question to you guys. How many of you guys remember when McDonald's used to have a number on the sign? Remember when it used to have a number? It used to say like 47 million hamburgers sold, 59 million hamburgers sold. Now it says billions and billions served. I want you to think about something for a second. Let's use the example of McDonald's and tell me how many families have you served? I want you as a business to know how many families you've served. Now pay attention. How many closings you've had is different than how many families you've served. See, closings is how we keep track in our business, right? Brokers and owners and even Zan there at the board, they're tracking closings, right? How many transactions has each agent had? And the one that sells the most is the most productive agent. But that's not what consumers think. Consumers don't think of it as a transaction. They think of it as a transition from this part of their life to this part of their life. And the fact that we get to be guides in that journey, guys, that's pretty cool. And so what I want to challenge you to do is take some time this week. If you've been in the business for 5 or 10 or longer years, and you don't know your numbers off the top of your head, I want you to find out how many transactions you've had. That's one number. That's how many closings you've had. But I want you to do the math and find out how many families you've served. Right, now think about this. This is my transaction list, right, of all the transactions I've had, right? And I've had 200 in my career. Now, once again, I jumped out of sales for a while while I was the director of training with my company. But I've had 217 transactions. So my sign would say 217 hamburgers sold. But how many families is that? It's 183 families, because I take out the ones that I sold multiple houses to. They were sellers and then they bought another house, or they bought and then they called me a couple years later and sold and bought. So those second and third transactions, it was still the same family. So I want you to think of how many families you've served. Now, here's what's kind of cool. Megan, let me have you jump back on again so we can have this little conversation. How long have you been licensed, Megan?
Almost 15 years.
Almost 15. So give me a guesstimate. How many transactions have you had?
I knew you were going to ask me that. And I was
That's
like, I mean, hundreds, I guess.
Okay. So is that 100? Is that 200? Is it 300?
Let's say 200.
Okay. So let's say 200. And let's use this as a perfect example, because there's so many like you out there.
Sure.
So let's say you're close to me. You're at 220. Let's say you've closed 220 times you've sat at the closing table. Okay. Which is an awesome number. But if you looked at the numbers, let's say you're at 194 families. Right? So that counts the repeats, which is probably a pretty close number, right? I'm 217 and 184. So let's say 194. Now here's what's cool and why it's important for you to know this, Megan, and everybody listening. If Megan knows she's helped 194 families, that means in 6 more closings, if they're different, unique families, she's going to be helping her 200th family buy or sell real estate in the Fayetteville market. Now think about this, Megan. You're coming up on a pretty big number. Imagine when you have 5 closed and then that next one, and you go on Instagram and you go, hey guys, it's Megan with XYZ Real Estate Company. Behind me is the closing room where Jack and Sally Jackson are getting ready to buy their first house. And guys, it's my 200th family I've helped in my 15 years of helping people in the Fayetteville marketplace. And I can't tell you how excited and thankful and proud I am to be a member of the real estate community and be part of this family that we call Fayetteville or Fort Bragg or whatever you want to talk about. That becomes such a cool thing for you to tell. Instead of saying, y'all, I just closed another deal and mama made money. Right? No one cares about that. But when you say I've helped this many families, and think about if you sent out a card or a flyer or did a social video or something that you can talk about how many families you've served in your marketplace. You guys have a place that serves the country, right? Mm-hmm. Right there where you live. See how that subtle difference, Megan, makes a difference? And when you count those numbers up this week, because you're going to be challenged to do it now, and you're going to say, oh my gosh, Sean, I'm at 191, 9 more families, and I'm going to close my 200th family. Someone on this call is maybe closing in on 500 families. Maybe you're coming in on 100 or 50, whatever the number is, guys. Celebrate it and have a reason to tell that story. Thanks, Megan. I'll bring you back in a little bit. Awesome. I want you to think about your numbers now, okay? And the last level, guys, is our bullseye. Our bullseye, and this is a great one. These people want my success almost as much as I want it myself. These people want my success almost as much as I want it myself. It's your best man from your wedding. It's your mom or your spouse or your partner. It's your next door neighbor. It's the person you go to the gym with. I'm going to tell you how many people you should put in your bullseye. 20. Write down the number 20 and circle it. Your database is however many you want. Your sphere of influence is at least 235. Your clients is what it is. Your bullseye is 20. And why 20? Because if I take a typical monthly calendar and I cut off the weekends, how many business days are left? Yeah, 20. 20 business days, which means on each day, I have Megan's name and Zan's name and Lisa's name and Logan's name. And on the day I see Logan on my list, I make sure that I reach out and talk to Logan. Now, she's in my bullseye, so I don't even need to talk to her about real estate. It might be, hey, have you seen the new Tom Cruise movie yet? Hey, did you read the new John Grisham book yet? Hey, are you going to the club this weekend? Hey, are you going to the game this weekend? It's just conversations to earn that top of mind awareness. Guys, if you think about it, if I'm throwing darts, I'm aiming for the middle. I'm aiming for the bullseye. So every day I want to start in the bullseye, because if my day gets crazy, at least I talk to the best people. So in this metaphor, so many new agents want to build a bigger target. They say, if I just build a bigger target, no matter where I hit my dart, I'm going to... Oh, so you want to build a target full of strangers? No, guys, what you do is the people on the outside of your target, they get your annual newsletter. Then the next ring in gets your newsletter plus your monthly e-newsletters. Then the next ring in gets that plus the just list, just sold cards. The next ring in gets that plus invites to your quarterly beer tastings. The next ring in gets that plus pot buys on birthdays and anniversaries or whatever it might be. Spend your time, effort, and money on the people in the middle, because they're the ones that gave you your time, effort, and money. Focus on the bullseye, guys. That's how you score more points in this business. But back to the point of being a farmer, right? You've got to put seeds in the ground every day. And even when we're not supposed to be touching right now, how can you still be putting seeds in the ground? Well, Megan, in the introduction, you read about me. You talked about I was the director of training with our company for about 14 years. Well, I gave up sales and was just helping agents build their business. But in 2016, when I decided to jump back into sales and open up my speaking company, I needed to put seeds in the ground. I needed to do what I taught agents to do for 16 years. So I created what's called the 4-H Club. And it's my way of getting up and putting seeds in the ground. And I've been doing it every day, Monday through Friday, during quarantine since March, to make sure that I'm still putting seeds in the ground for real estate opportunities and speaking opportunities. And here's what the 4-H Club is. And every one of you guys on this call can start copying this. The first H is I come down to my home office and I do 5 handwritten notes. I start my day with 5 handwritten notes. Those could be thank you notes. I can send out, company stationery. I just go to the dollar store and get a lot of these little packets of cards, and I just send 5 handwritten notes, because all of you guys know, at the end of the day today, when you go to the mailbox, if there's 9 pieces of mail in there and one's a handwritten note, what are you going to open first? The handwritten note every time. You're probably going to leave it on the counter. You're going to leave it there for other people to see in your family. You might put it in a junk drawer, or maybe have a special place to save those handwritten notes. The second H is a hot sheet. So I jump into my MLS and I run the hot sheet for two reasons. Number one, to keep my finger on the pulse of the market, to see the new listings, the price changes, the end contracts, and the closings for the town I live in. Then as I go through that hot sheet and look at those addresses, I'm saying to myself, do I know anybody that lives within a couple block radius of that property? And if I do, I'm going to send them an email, I'm going to call them, or I'm going to text them that information. Hey, Megan, just want to let you know the house around the corner from you just had a $10,000 price reduction. Hey, Mr. Monroe, just want to let you know the house around the corner from you went into contract last week. I'll keep you up to date when it closes. All I'm trying to do is make sure that when Zan or Megan or Michelle or Lisa thinks about real estate in their neighborhood, they think about me. The third H is I do my happy birthdays. I jump onto Facebook and I say which of my friends are having birthdays. I send them a message on their wall, or if they're close friends of mine, they're going to get a video text message. If I have their number in my phone or have easy access to their number and feel I'm close enough friends with them, they're going to get a video message. Hey, Zan, it's Sean Carpenter up in Columbus, Ohio. Hey, just want to send a quick video message to wish you a very happy birthday today. Hope all is well and hope you're ready for a great rest of the week and a great rest of the year. And as always, buddy, keep building relationships, solving problems, and having fun. And I hit send. Little different. And I bet most of you guys on your last birthday didn't get a lot of video text messages. So it's a way to stand out. And finally, the last H is high fives. High fives, right? I do 5 likes on Facebook. I do 5 comments on Facebook. I jump over to Twitter and I do 5 comments or retweets on Twitter. I jump onto Instagram and I do 5 comments on people's stories or on their feed. And then I do 5 random text messages to 5 different people. So it might be a have a great day. It might be a funny GIF or a meme or a video, but just 5 random texts. And once I've done that, once I put those seeds in the ground, I get my morning coffee. Here during quarantine, I go upstairs and I make my big morning coffee, all right? Or I go to Starbucks near my office, or I go to Dunkin' Donuts or Panera, and I reward myself for putting seeds in the ground. Think about this, 5 handwritten notes. Let's say 3 hot sheet updates that I had to call or text. Let's say I had 12 birthdays on Facebook today, and then like 25 touches. Guys, that's 45 touches before 9 o'clock in the morning. 45 seeds in the ground that could turn into business. And how many of those were about real estate? How many of those were really all about real estate? Really only the 3 hot sheet ones were specifically about real estate. But they all came from Sean Carpenter, who's in real estate, who's a golfer, who's a beer drinker, who's a Tom Petty fan, who's a Florida Gator, right? All these different things that earn top of mind awareness. Now, when it comes to calling your sphere, you don't have to know what to say. You just have to know what to ask. Right? Get them talking and you listening. Ask questions about themselves, their families, their pets, their dogs, all those things we talked about. And then just have a reason to call. Have a reason to call somebody. And look, I gave you reasons to call somebody about their kids, about what's going on with their pets. They got a birthday coming up. You saw that their team had a big win this weekend, right? You saw on social media they're going to Disney, or they just got back from somewhere, all right? Or whatever it might be, but you have reasons to call. Now, I'll say this, right now, during the kind of the pandemic that we're all going through, and we're all kind of still feeling out and finding what to do, I don't think you need to do anything other than to ask to help. Don't ask for business. Just call up and say, hey, I just was thinking about you guys. Is there anything I can do to help? I'm going to be in your side of town later this week. Anything I can do to help? Just ask to help. And this one's important. I want to share this one with Megan and on behalf of Zan and the crew there at Longleaf Pines. Guys, don't be afraid to ask for help. Look, we're all going through this for the first time. No one really knows what they're doing. If you're unsure about what's going on, ask someone for help. Your industry, whether they're in your company, whether they're in your board, ask for help. Reach out to Zane if you need some help. Reach out to your broker. Reach out to me if you need help. We don't need to be afraid to ask for help, guys. There's a reason why the flight attendant says if you're traveling with somebody else, put your own oxygen mask on first. We've got to make sure that we can do the job before we worry about anybody else. So make sure if you need some help, ask for help. There's nothing wrong with saying like, I'm just not sure what's going on right now. And so asking your broker, asking a coworker, asking a competitor, hey, would you mind helping me out? I can't get over to let my client in. Can you open up the door for them? Right? Whatever your MLS rules might be on that, just make sure you're following the rules. But I think that's really important. So Megan, let me just take a quick drink of my drink. Are there any questions in the chat room that we need to address before we go to what's called Operation Reach Out?
I am not seeing any right now, but can I throw one question?
You sure can.
So you're talking about calling, and I will say that the biggest thing that I get with agents when I tell them to call is the fear of the call. Can you give any insight to them on how to just, get over that?
Well, first of all, if you're calling to ask for something that might be a rejection, you're going to probably have to practice it. And once again, feel comfortable with your dialogues. But guys, we just showed you how many reasons there are to call. You don't have to call up. Real estate might come up. I just maybe wouldn't make it the first thing. I'd ask questions like, how's the family? How are you guys getting along? Is everybody healthy? Right? Is there anything I can do to help? Right? We talked about that, but asking about the family, asking about the kids, using the social media cues. If you're unsure what to say before I would call Zan, if I see Zan's the next name up on my list I'm supposed to call, maybe I'm going to jump over to his Facebook page and see that he's been traveling. He's been playing tennis. He's been getting golf lessons. He just refinished a new car, whatever he might do that I have reasons to chat with him about. So Megan, I would just use those things that are going to make you comfortable and have conversations. I'm actually going to get to that as part of the Operation Reach Out. So as we get to the top of the hour, let's use this acronym Reach Out. For those of you taking notes, write the word reach out vertically down your page. I'm going to give you a little idea or thought for each of these letters so that as you start thinking about, okay, as I come out of this COVID-19 pandemic, how can I continue to reach out and make my direct marketing plan, my personal marketing plan, my social marketing plan, maybe my team, or if you're a broker owner, how can we think about creating a system to reach out, like the word says, but each of these individual by themselves is a great message. The R stands for relevance. Relevance. Guys, we got to stop thinking that one size fits all. Now, there are some things that we can send out that are one size fits all, right? We can send out market reports, right? If I go into my MLS and I want to send out a market report, that's one size fits all. So everybody that lives in my town of Upper Arlington might get a market report, whether it's direct mail, whether it's email, whether it's through a video or a meme on Instagram or whatever, because it's generic. But guys, people don't want generic. Most of us don't want generic. Now, this is a real estate audience, so I should probably show this picture. That's probably more fitting for a real estate audience. I joke, but people don't want generic. They love things that are unique and different to them because our clients aren't the same. So why would we send them all the same thing? Think about relevance of this. Why would I want to know which of my people have pets? What if there was an article published in the USA Today or Huffington Post or something that says Fayetteville, North Carolina is one of the top 5 cities in the South for pet owners? Wow, that might be a cool article I want to share, but who would I share that with? Yeah, my people that own pets. Because you know who doesn't care about that stat? People that don't own pets. It's not relevant to them. What if I see an article about a 55 and older community that's opening up in your town? Why would I send that to my millennial friends? Unless it said, if your parents are thinking of moving, let them know about this new community. But I want to think differently, right? If I have an article, 10 ways millennials are saving on their home down payments, I probably wouldn't send that to my 60 and older clients unless I'm going to put a little message in there saying, next time you talk to your grandkids, make sure you check out number 7 because gifts from grandparents are one of the best ways to save down payment money. Just make sure we're thinking relevance, guys. People love to do things differently. Many of you guys prefer to read your emails on a desktop or a laptop. Some of you love to read books or get handwritten cards in the mail. You don't like to read it on a Kindle. Or most of us do all of our emails on a phone like this. In fact, how many of you guys have opened up your email program today and just swiped emails, deleted them without even opening them? That's how the world works these days. We get everything through this little screen and we make our decisions based on the subject line and sometimes the first line that we can read in the preview. Delete, delete, delete. You know who does that? Your consumers do that when they get an email from you. So think about what's the message, what's the subject line, how am I getting it to them? E stands for everywhere. Guys, we've got to be where your clients are, which is everywhere. The cool thing about real estate is it's different every day. What's the bad thing about real estate? It's different every day. And so we have to make sure that we are where our customers are. We don't know where that next customer is coming from. right? We've got to have these frequent non-transaction based interactions where we're running into people all the time, whether it's in person, the grocery store, at the kids' ball game, at church, at, you know, at the car wash, on social media. Look at all these different places we can have these non-transaction based interactions, likes and comments and shares. We got to be everywhere. Your next client literally could come when you fill up with gas this week, and you're standing at the pump and the person next to you sees your brand name tag on your chest and says, "Hey, are you in real estate? Can I ask you a question?" That could be your next client. You don't know where they're going to be, so you've got to be everywhere. You got to think about your marketing strategy. Am I getting out in front of enough people? Am I niche marketing to a certain audience, or am I broad-based marketing for brand recognition, right? All these different places where I can make sure that myself or my brokerage name or my brand name or my industry name, do they know I'm a realtor? Do they know I work for XYZ Realty? Do they know I work in this branch office? And go the other direction too. Do they know I work in this office? Do they know I work for this brand? Do they know I work in this industry? Make sure we're making sure we're everywhere. A stands for ask questions. Ask questions and listen to the ones people are asking you. That's a good one. Listen to the questions people are asking. Listen to the questions people are generically asking on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook. What are the questions your community is asking you? And be ready to answer those questions. Here's my friend Shay Hata. Shay is married to Nobu Hata. Nobu is now the new CEO out in the Denver marketplace. But Shay is an agent with Berkshire Hathaway in Chicago. And when Shay and Nobu were pregnant with their first child, as is often the case when a woman starts to show, people start asking her about the pregnancy. When's the baby being born? How you feeling? Well, people asked her so many questions about being pregnant in Chicago that Shay started using her website as a resources place for parents. Look at the bottom link there, resources for parents. So she would answer questions by saying, well, go to my website and you can get information about places to shop in town and classes and daycares and parental support groups and things like that. And what do you think some of those people might have done when they were on that site? Yeah, they might have clicked on look for homes. Because if I'm asking Shay the question, maybe we're having a baby and we're soon going to be growing out of our house. What a great opportunity to listen to the questions she was getting that had nothing to do with real estate and tied it back into real estate. Here's my friend Michael Ackerman. Michael Ackerman is a top agent with Coldwell Banker Bain out in Seattle, Washington. Amazing agent, even better person. Michael would listen to the questions he's getting from his customers and clients, and then he would do a video to answer the question. And he would just put up his little flip video or his phone, hit record, and say, hey guys, it's Michael Ackerman with Coldwell Banker Bain. And one of the questions I'm hearing from a lot of people right now is, should I wait to buy a house until after the pandemic? And that's a great question. And here's my answers. Because if one person asks the question, a bunch of people probably have the question, but then he can put it out there to the world and people can see his personality, his style, his care, his charm, his style of dress, right? And they get a good idea of who he is and what he does. And now he can leverage it across all his social channels to go back to E everywhere. I want you guys to inquire about everything, right? The best realtors ask the most questions. Let me say that again. The best salespeople are the best question askers. So make sure you're asking questions and listening to the ones people are asking you. C stands for content. C stands for content. And what I want you to think about when it comes to content with Operation Reach Out is, how are you being found in those micro moments? See, micro moments is a word that Google is starting to talk about a lot, because people are going to go to their mobile devices in those micro moments. Here's what a micro moment used to be. Let me take some of you guys back. A micro moment used to be when you were at the grocery store and the person in front of you was writing a check, and you would pick up the National Enquirer or People magazine and flip through it during a micro moment. A micro moment was when you were picking up your kids after school and you would get out and talk to the other moms. A micro moment was when the Braves game was going from the top of the inning to the bottom of the inning, right? And you would run to the bathroom or to the fridge. Now, what do we do in those micro moments? What do we as consumers do when we're in line behind somebody or in the pickup line at school or when a commercial comes on? We go to our phones, guys. Consumers go to sites like Zillow because they can look at pictures of homes in Fayetteville, in Phoenix, in Boston, in Bermuda. They can go and look at pictures, or they go on places like Instagram because I can look at pictures and get taken away. You know where they don't go? They don't go read a 6,000 word blog post. They don't go to a website that they have to pinch and drag to see. They go to places like Instagram in those micro moments. So how can you be found in those micro moments with awesome pictures or short little videos? Or does your story on Instagram show people kind of a behind the scenes of who you are as a realtor, who you are as a central or East Central North Carolinian, right? What are you doing to make someone say, that's the kind of agent I want to work with, right? Visuals catch people's eyes, videos, pictures. That's why Instagram stories and Instagram is so popular right now. That's why when you scroll through Facebook, if you just have words, people are passing right by it, but they're looking for pictures and videos. What content are you putting out there to catch people in those micro moments? H is humanize your business. Humanize your business. Guys, we've got to go from real estate to relationships. This is a relationship business. Always has been, always will be. The house is just the widget that we use because the people that live in the house, that's who our clients are. Not the house, the people. So how can you humanize your business? Being active in your communities. Being active in your churches or synagogues or temples, being active in your neighborhoods and your charities and your kids' schools and your country clubs and your barbershops and hair salons and gyms and pubs. Guys, this page right here is Facebook before Mark Zuckerberg was born. This is old school. This is being human. This is making sure people know who you are. So when they see you walk in at the country club, they don't just say, there's a realtor with XYZ Realtor. There's a member of the church, and there's a father, and there's a longtime resident, and there's a kid that grew up working at McDonald's or Dairy Queen, right? And there's a good person. That's humanizing your business. Making sure your calls aren't scripted. Megan, I think to answer your question earlier, it's great to have a script, but it's also great just to say, hey, I was just calling to catch up. What's going on? Be there to listen. Be there to ask questions. It's about building the relationships. That's why it's the first part of my philosophy, building the relationships so that I have opportunities to solve some problems. And if I can have fun doing it, then I get to, as the shampoo bottle says, lather, rinse, repeat. Just keep doing those 3 things over and over again and make sure that you're being human. Here's ways I can be human. Look at all these things on this screen that I have that I can reach out and talk to somebody about. Kids, grandkids, job, pets, birthdays coming up, anniversaries coming up, right? What's going on with their company? Be human. 3 more. Oh, online and offline. Here's the question, guys. Does your digital twin look just like you? Does your digital twin look just like you? Are you the same person online as you are offline? And guess what? Since COVID hit, we've all been spending a lot more time on a screen, whether it's in classes, whether it's through social media, whether it's on video calls or FaceTime. Are you the same person offline as you are online? Because guess what? Some of the people that have got to know you over the last 100 days are going to eventually meet you in person. And if you're the same person, you're going to get a chance to win. Here's my challenge to you guys. Later this afternoon, when you're done with this webinar, I want you to go on Google and type in your name, Fayetteville, your name, Realtor, and see what shows up. Are there some websites that you used to have that you haven't had in a while that are still showing up? Does your profile, when someone goes to your profile on your company page, is it updated? Is your photo look even anything close to what you look like right now? Did you talk about your family in there? I have a realtor friend who has 3 kids. And when I saw him last, I said, hey, how are your 2 kids doing? He says, Sean, I have 3 kids. You know that. And I said, well, on your profile, you only talk about 2 of them. He hadn't updated his profile in 4 years and talked about his new baby. U stands for understanding. Understanding. Learn customers' wants and needs and then educate them in any way possible about those things. Because once again, like the asking questions. Here's my friend Steve and Heather Ostrom, husband and wife team out in Roseville, Rockland, California. And look on their website. They have a frequently asked questions and education page. So they can take the questions they're getting and educate their buyers and sellers about what's going on and educate people that are just browsing or typing in, earnest money in Sacramento. And maybe that's one of the answers on their questions. They perhaps could turn that into business. Here's my friend Joe Scott with the Unit Realty Group, a small boutique brokerage in Boston. And he doesn't just talk about a map. He says in the area guide, he tells little examples of what you can find in each of these little neighborhoods. Here's an idea. What if Megan, every Thursday afternoon, Megan, take this idea and run with it. What if every Thursday, Megan jumps on Instagram stories and does a little 4 or 5 segment story that says, hey guys, it's Megan with XYZ Realty here in Fayetteville. And it's Thursday, which means I'm answering questions from my clients. And the question today comes from my friend Sean, who asks, is earnest money required in Fayetteville? That's a great question, Sean. And no, it's not, but let me explain why it would be important in today's fast-paced market. And she does a little story about the answer. And at the very end, she says, so if you have any questions about real estate here in Fayetteville, send me a direct message, and maybe next week on Thursday, you'll have your question answered on Ask Megan or whatever it might be. And if Megan does that every single Thursday, she can be herself the other 6 days of the week. But if everyone sees that on Thursday, she answers a real estate question, they start learning Megan, real estate, Megan, mom, Megan, right? Tennis player, Megan, whatever it might be, all these things that start coming up. There's an idea. And finally, T, tell a story. Tell a story, because if my story and their story match, we found a connection, right? If I can find common ground, I guarantee you, if Zan is scrolling through brokers' websites in Boise, Idaho, if one of those brokers mentions that they went to North Carolina State and played tennis there, Zan will see that before any of you guys see it. It's going to jump off the page because it's something in common. Here's my friend Greg Fisher. Greg is an agent, was in Fort Worth, Texas, then went to Seattle. Now he's in Bend, Oregon. He's a military brat. You guys have a lot of them there. He talked about, I was a military brat and it sucked. Oh my God, moving was so hard. But when he tells his story, if you've been a military brat, you're going to get a feeling that Greg might be able to help you see things the way you see things. Right, here's my friends Kim and Chavi, once again out at Coldwell Banker Bain in Seattle. Not only can you go learn about them on their website, you can click on their read more, and you can see a video, so you get a chance to see who they are and hear their story, or you could read their likes and dislikes and sense of humor and what they do outside of real estate. And you say, gosh, I really like her story. I think it matches with my story. I think I'm going to call Kim to be my agent. What is the story you're telling? And if your story's good enough, guys, other people will tell it for you. So you can spend your time, effort, money taking care of your clients and let other people tell your story for you. So as we come to the end here, Megan, I'm going to unshare my screen, but there's my blog. It's called carpscorner.net. You can get to it at seancarpenter.com as well. If you kind of like my style, if you like what I have to say, I put out 2 blogs a week, one on Monday. It's called my Monday Morning Match, just to get your week started. And then I've started something new called 30 for Thursday. It's a short post that goes out on Thursday mornings. It's 30 words or less. 30 words or less. And so check me out there at that site. And then for questions, Megan, how about I unshare my screen and see if anyone has any questions that they'd like to jump in the chat.
We do have one question. We have 2.
Okay.
They had missed what you said about using the hot sheets as a contact point. Could you please repeat that?
Sure. So the hot sheets, Tony, what I would do with that is I do it for 2 reasons. Number one, I open up my hot sheet to see what new listings have hit my marketplace. Okay. What new price changes, what new in contracts, and what new closings. And then as I go down that list, Tony, I say to myself, okay, here's one on Asher Street. Well, I know Zan Monroe lives on Smith Street, which is around the corner. So I might reach out and talk to Zan about that new listing on Asher Street, right? If I see that here's a listing in Megan's neighborhood, I'm going to text or call my friend Megan just to say, hey, Megan, just want to let you know the house around the corner from you I told you about a couple weeks ago, it just went into contract. So I'm just going to use that as a top of mind awareness mechanism, whether it's my listing or not, Tony. I'm going to send that to them.
Okay, the other question I have here is, what would you write in your handwritten note? So I'll let you elaborate on that.
Okay, so great question. I just make it personal. Right now, if I was writing Megan a note, it would basically just say, hey, Megan, hope you and the family are all doing well and staying busy in these crazy times. What have the kids been doing to stay busy this summer? ? I'm excited to get my kids off to school. Riley is at South Carolina. Ryan's heading to Mississippi State. Let's get together soon. Something simple, right? It doesn't have, how's the family? You know, did you miss your vacation to Outer Banks, right? Maybe they didn't go because of COVID. Just be real. You don't need to, you know, and I very rarely make the handwritten note about business. It might say, let's get together soon or reach out with any questions. But I just leave it at that. Reach out with any questions, not reach out with any real estate needs or who do you know that wants to buy or sell a home. I let that naturally kind of happen as part of the touches. So you wouldn't differentiate business social media from your person. Yeah, Allison, I only have one page. I don't have a business page. I just have Sean Carpenter because I am the same person with my real estate hat on as I am with my speaking hat. Now, once again, I don't advertise on Facebook. So if I want to advertise on Facebook, I would need to have a business page. But I really am the same person all the time. Tony, the U was understanding. Remember, understand what your clients' wants and needs are, and then educate them to the nth degree. Make sure you're looking for opportunities to educate your clients on that. So Megan, I'll tell you what, let me have, if you guys are still on, even if you don't want to ask a question, go into the chat box and type in the one thing from this session that you're going to put into your business. Maybe you're going to look at your business differently, the 4 levels. Maybe you're going to start doing the 4-H club every day. Maybe you're going to look at your business through Operation Reach Out. What's something you're going to do? Megan's going to do a weekly video. I love that idea, Megan. I'm excited. I'll follow you. And I see Mr. Monroe jumped on there. Let's hear what Zan's favorite thing was. Hey, Zan.
I loved it. I been sitting here taking notes all morning. I love it. Love it. Love it. I didn't mean to get rid of Megan. Come back, Megan.
Yeah, come on back, Megan.
She's much better looking than I am.
I love this. Paula says she's going to rethink her database with all her headings for the columns. Shantae is going to do the 4-H club every day. Candy Lee's going to start maybe trying to blog twice a week. And Candy Lee, listen, it doesn't even have to be about real estate. Just make it about life. Make it about your personality. Make it about your interests outside of real estate. Because guess what? If you're a runner, you might pick up runners that want to work with another runner. Right? If you're a mom, talk about what it's like to be a stay-at-home mom or to be a teaching from home. Right? I saw a cute post, Zan, this morning. One of my realtor friends here posted, congratulations to her 2 children who just got accepted into the last name academy. The student teacher ratio will be 2 to 2. Dad's going to take care of PE and this, mom's going to take care of lunch. It was really cute. It was just a way of saying, like, look, our kids aren't going back to school. We're going to just make the best of it. So Jamie's going to reevaluate business, go back to basics. Love it. Great. David Saddlemeyer, 4-H club. Yep. Love this.
Yeah. You did that. You were talking about everybody getting back to the basics, and Mike Krzyzewski is a basketball coach here at a little university called Duke. And I've heard him speak before, and he says, it's all about the basics. And who gave you permission to do anything else?
Right.
He said, there are no such thing as advanced. It's all basics. And there's really nothing but that.
You know, Zan, the great coach, John Wooden, one of my favorite stories of Coach Wooden, every year, even after they won national championship after national championship, the first day of practice, he sat his players on the bench and he said, we're going to practice putting on our socks. Yep. And over the years, the sophomores and the juniors were like, Coach, we know how to put on socks. We're grown men. He says, well, we're going to practice because if you guys get a blister because you didn't put your socks on wrong, you can't practice. And if you can't practice, you can't play in the games. And if you can't play in the games, we can't win. And if we can't win, we'll never win national championships. So let's practice putting on our socks. Yep. Right? The basics, the building relationships, solving problems, and having fun. The people that want to go out and do all this technology stuff instead of making phone calls, sending handwritten notes, and showing up face to face, right?
Right. It's just that simple.
I think it's very valuable. If they take one thing and apply it, they'll see a change in business.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey guys, listen, one last request of you. Go in the chat box, and if this was the best webinar you've been on today, just type in best webinar of the day.
I love it. So far for me, it absolutely is.
Yeah. Megan, I had a blast with you guys. Once again, you guys know how to contact me. Social media at Sean Carp on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me on Facebook as well. I'm so looking forward to helping you guys. Connect with me on the blog. And if I can do anything to help you guys down there in one of my favorite parts of the country, Zan, let's get together and golf sometime soon. All right.
Yeah, what y'all don't know is Sean was a professional golfer. So he talked me into a round of golf. And on the first hole, I went, oh my God, I didn't know you could do that with a golf ball.
Zan, you should see my son now. My son is limber and can hit the ball. You can build a Walmart between where his ball lands and where my ball stops.
Oh, good grief. Well, yeah, those young people that can hit it out of sight. But yes, and your daughter's at South Carolina, right?
That's correct.
So you'll be coming through. Make sure you stop and visit. We will. We would love to see you. And we're talking about doing these type of presentations again and again. Would you come back and do another one for us later in the year or first of next year?
I would love to. I have plenty to talk about. I love helping other realtors. So if we can all raise the bar a little bit in our industry by providing more memorable experiences and taking care of our customers and clients so that they will continue to repeat and refer us, I'd love to come back, Zan. We
will have you. Absolutely. Can I do a plug for an educational event coming up? I teach a class called Recharge, and we're going to do one for this association in September. It'll be every Thursday from 9 to noon in September, 4 days, and it'll generate revenue back to the association. So Megan, I hadn't talked to you about it, but we just decided yesterday to run it every Thursday. And if folks out there are in company groups, if you have a group of agents in your company, we will have group pricing for you. So Recharge is coming in September. Get your business pumped back up.
It's a great class. I'd highly recommend it, guys. Just if nothing else, just to shoot some adrenaline into your body and finish the year strong. Because guess what? There's still business happening out there.
Any more questions before we turn you loose? Anybody got questions for Sean out there?
Thank you so much, Sean. We appreciate it.
No problem. Can't wait. I'm going to follow you on Instagram, Megan. And what's your Instagram handle? I'll follow you right now, and I'll make sure I watch.
You're gonna yell at me. I don't have Instagram.
Okay, well, you're gonna have to figure out where you're gonna.
You can go be my Facebook friend.
All right, that's fine. Connect with me on Facebook, and I'll watch you do your videos on Facebook. Baby steps, right?
Exactly.
Well, hey guys, just do me a favor: build relationships, solve problems, and have fun. Thanks, Ann. Thanks, Megan.
Thank you, buddy. See y'all next time.